Hello and welcome back to the channel post Christmas. Hope you all had a wonderful Christmas and happy holidays. So today is MOT failure fix day, so get started with getting this wheel off. We'll get to it while I've got a bit of a rain break. So apologies for the wind, unfortunately that's the joys of driveways. So, wheels off. So first issue is that CV boot there, has a tear on it. See if I can find it. I think it's leaking there somewhere. Everything else to be in good shape. The pads, I bought new ones, but they look pretty healthy really. But anyway, I'm going to change them anyhow. So I need to get this off and get that boot changed. There we go. You can see it weeping a little bit there. So that's that side. So only the CV boot on driver's side. I bought some more. It's fair to say that caliper's definitely seen better days. Well, I've run out of daylight, so reconvene tomorrow. So we are now on day 2. Lessons learned. It's easier to get those out without disconnecting the caliper, so this one wouldn't come off yesterday. So I left it on, and then being DIY, didn't know it's better to press the brake when the pads are out, so I'll ideally take out the pads, put the caliper back in place, then press your brakes. But I took the driver's side one off. So this is the driver's side. So as you can see there, the piston's popped out on the bottom, but the top one hasn't. Well, you can see that. There we go. So yeah, so the top one's still in position. I need to figure out how to get that out. I've seen something to say use a G-clamp on it and try that again. But we can prep the passenger side one and do the replacement on that. As you can see, it needs a good clean up. So I bought these Amazon drill and get it cleaned up in situ. So as mentioned, don't disconnect the brake line. Right, so use some brake cleaner. It's got to wipe them out properly. That looks a lot better than it did. Put the wire tool on, cleaned it up a little bit. I had every intention of taking these off, making them look really, really pretty. I've even got some new paint and everything, but you know what? I'm just going to put this one back together, and then I'll paint it on, I don't know, maybe the 32nd of July or something like that. So this is day 4, but I've not been able to do any work on it, obviously with the rain. So I've got, I think, 3 hours of free dry time today, so I'm going to try and utilise that. So all that's left to do on this caliper is change the bleed nipple. Thankfully the kit comes with one of those, so I'll get that whipped off, put some grease on the pads, on the slide pins as well. They've cleaned up not too bad. I'll just go over them with the wire wool on the drill and copper grease them, and then put it back on the car. Well, the nipple didn't want to come out, it snapped off, so now it's drilling out and then trying to use a pull tool to see if we can get it. So this is the driver's side caliper. One of the pistons has come out. That's the seized one. Now this one looks in worse, a hell of a lot worse condition than the passenger side one was. But I think the reason why this one's seized is because if you look here, the rubber's got a tear in it, and it's all just rusted in the back of there. And there's your rip. So I'm going to try a pull tool to try and pull that out, and good old hammer. So hopefully we'll get that pulled off and then deal with the issue on this one, because the bleed nipple this side, well, I don't even think you put a screwdriver on that, spanner even, or a socket. So my two big problems is that is not only a snapped bleed nipple, but the easy out tool has snapped in there as well, and the difficulty I'm having trying to get this caliper off, you see there, that 11mm for the brake line is now rounded off. So I put the caliper back on the car, put the steering lock this way, and now what I'm going to attempt to do is get the brake line off with that, so then hopefully it'll be easier to work on the caliper to remove that. The driver's side did exactly the same, but it doesn't have the easy out nut in it because I didn't make that mistake twice, but the nipple did snap, and so far I've drilled that out somewhat, but it still needs more drilling. So that one's off the car, so I'm going to give this a go now, see if we can get that line off. That is more round than it is a hexagon, but it's out, so it means now I can totally remove the caliper from the car, so that's good news. If anybody wants to have a hazard a guess as to what that's supposed to be or used to be, feel free to comment. So as I don't have tools, Darren has kindly offered to help me by drilling out the stuck bleed nipples. So
noisy, by the way.
no noise. So he's managed to get out the broken easy out, but we don't seem to be able to see a hole in this one, whereas this one, he's re-tapped it. So air test done, connected onto there, and there is air coming out, but can't see a hole. So now we're going to put some thread in it and see if it seals when it's screwed down. So we've put the air into the calipers, we've put the new bleed nipples in from the kit, and unfortunately both of them, not just one with the broken easy out bit in, leaking air. We put air through the system. The piston's moved a little bit, which is good news because it means that obviously they're brand new, so it's free. So I've missed the 2-week deadline for my free MOT, so I will end this video here, and then we'll move on to the next installment in terms of what we do with the bleed nipples, and essentially whether or not it works. A couple of options, either putting a bolt in. There has been a suggestion to actually try and bleed through the actual brake line itself, but that sounds a bit complex, or leaving the bleed nipple area open, doing the bleed that way, allowing the fluid to come out through the bleed nipple, and then put in a normal bolt within the hole, and then that essentially would do the same job. It just means that you can't re-bleed the brakes, maybe, I don't know, but at the same time, would you need to? It's got brand new pads on it and things like that, so they would last a significant amount of time. So having it completely closed off with just a dead end normal bolt that has a bigger size than the 6mm that's already on there, which, as you've seen from the video, it was absolutely shot to bits. So hope you found it useful. Catch you next time.